there's a line being drawn in America by Americans about Americans. Life, it doesn't seem to be important, right? Political views and dispositions seem to be more important, and sound bites about what it takes to make America great.
I was angry. I'm still angry. It was even worse when you heard the response.
Even the President of the United States seemed to make a moral equivalence between people who are promoting oppression and people who are opposing it.
I think we're living in this time where everything our founding fathers established is being tested.
Charlottesville, I think, brought that out more acutely than many other things that have happened in recent months.
Charlottesville is really an indictment of the American values.
A salute to Hitler is still upheld by some of my fellow citizens as an admirable thing. I'm very surprised by that. I'm shocked by that. I'm frightened to death by that.
All of that is symptomatic of something else deeper that's been going on for a long time, for generations and generations and generations.
And at the same time, there were many people that were saying, no, racism is over, we're good.
America just wants to believe what it wants to believe for the most part.
I mean, we can barely have conversations about this, whether it's this year with Donald Trump in office or whether it was when Barack Obama was in office. People still struggle just talking about issues of race and discrimination and oppression and what have you, you know?
Some people are kind of having a moral wake-up call where they're like, oh my goodness, I hadn't realized things were so terrible. I can't say that I'm having that wake-up call. I'm glad that there are lots more folks who are saying, oh my goodness, we've got to do something, we've got to wake up, we've got to speak up. But there are people who've been awake and who've been speaking for a very long time, and I want to say to the new people, welcome to the party.
America has been struggling with some deep and fundamental issues in a different way again for the past few years. If much of this is old and familiar, the part that's feeling new is the willingness to attack institutions of democracy. At the moment, we are seeing those sort of core aspirational values be politicized. There are people who want to make it political for you to believe in equality, political for you to believe in climate change, political for you to read the newspaper.
Now you have people feeling that they have the full weight of the United States government to support their disposition, so they're like, I'm gonna go hard then.
This is a time for extraordinary vigilance, because I think there is real carelessness being shown by people in power about sowing divisions among the people, attacking institutions of democracy, including journalism. You're forced to decide what you stand for. It's a difficult question that every organization has to decide on in its own way.
But we cannot take our eyes off of where we know we're supposed to be. Our country, the United States of America, is a country that is based on a vision for the ideal. I mean, the Constitution is the one document that is absolutely binding for every American.
You know, the way we get to our ideals in this country, we articulate a grandiose sort of vision. All men are created equal. Well, we were not there when that was stated. And we're closer today, but we're still not there.
We want America to become what America said it wanted to be. And there's a path to that.
And the core question is really, what does leadership look like right now? What does moral leadership look like? What are we being called upon to do?
Moral leadership cannot exist without a vision of the ideal, that which is right and that which is wrong, that which is true and that which is noble and that which is beautiful and that which can be.
Changes need to be made, you know? Changes need to be made, man.
What is it that we can do different? Not better, not worse, different than we've ever done before that creates a real change systemically in our thinking about what is a just and humane place. and what kind of leadership is required. And to me, it looks like something we haven't seen before.
The fundamental question here is, what are you going to stand for and what are you going to fight for? Moral leadership is about deciding the answer to that question. The trap is the myth of neutrality, the notion that our sector, the nonprofit arena, should be neutral on issues that go to core moral values, I think is phony and wrong.
And this moment gives us that opportunity. It's not an easy one, for sure. I think the beauty, perhaps, of this current moment is that we get to be really honest about that messiness.
The more the stuff comes up, the more I feel like we have the potential for things to get better.
One thing I'm quite sure of is that fantasy isn't going to get us to the goal of the better America that we all seek. Pretending that science doesn't exist is not going to get us there. Pretending that facts aren't real isn't going to get us there. Pretending that everyone is equal today and has the exact same opportunity is not going to get us there. There is so much at play right now, and so much at stake. Have the guts as a community, as a people, and as a nonprofit sector to speak the truth that we see.
Silence in the face of evil is itself evil. Not to act is to act. Not to speak is to speak.
You can't really impact this thing unless you get your hands dirty, you got to get in it.
Call me Pollyanna or naive or maybe just optimistic, but I think dealing with the messiness will get us to someplace better.
And it could mean different things for different people when I say get your hands dirty, but none of us come out without a scratch.
People who don't want there to be a healthy civic sector that does those things want to politicize those values so that the folks in our audience who are wrestling with moral leadership will be bullied into silence at a moment when their voices are the most needed, because we have to exercise vigilance now as never before.